right, so welcome. We are going to embark on playing Ironsworn by Sean Tompkin. And my friend Rob has convinced me to give this a try in co op mode. So we're going to see how well this goes. Rob, do you want to go ahead and just do a quick cats on this, and then we can just review safety tools afterwards?
Sure.
Uh, yeah.
So CATS is the acronym standing for, correct me if I'm
Concept,
wrong here, concept, aim, tone, and
subject matter.
subject matter. Okay, so concept, Ironsworn is kind of a Iron Age fantasy, somewhat Nordic, somewhat Celtic flavored, uh, low magic fantasy world, akin to something like the Northmen or Vikings or um, certain parts of the first Law series by Joe Abercrombie, and those are some kind of media touchstones. AIM, we've established characters in our session zero, established some facts about the world. We're going to do a co-op play. We have established kind of the broad sweep of where our characters are going to be headed. And I think in this session, we're going to try and get them to the point where those goals are established for the characters themselves. Tone is, I think, fairly, that horrible phrase, grim dark. It's a little bit of that. It's kind of gritty, low magic, low, dirty, poverty-stricken. Violence is real and unpleasant. That's the kind of, it's not kind of my hilarious gnome sidekick and that kind of style of fantasy. It's more on the Game of Thrones end, I guess. Early seasons when that show was good. Tone, oh, that was tone. Subject matter, yeah, it's going to be, I guess, in terms of content warning type stuff, my character is kind of a morally adrift, wounded former warrior who has lost his kind of faith and his raison d'etre and his best friend. So we may have, in terms of safety stuff, we've kind of lined and veiled a lot of things around kind of homophobia, racism, and so on that we're not interested in having happen, sexual assault and violence, that kind of thing, veils around harm to animal, harm to children, suicide and torture. But, violence is going to happen, cruelty, potentially kind of abusive power and social structures. I think this is likely to be endemic to this world. I don't know, anything you want to add there, Matt? So I think that about covers it.
No, I think that about covers it. I mean, again, we're going to, try to adhere as best as we can to our lines and veils, and there is an ask first on sexual content. It's like, well, we'll see. I mean, like, gritty, grim, dark. Hopefully, it won't be too terrible. And then, yeah, we're going to play these two characters that are making their way in this world. Um, my character is a traveling bard who seems simple at first. I mean, she's out for story, she's telling stories, and she's entertaining and performing going round the different places. But when we have our inciting incident, there will be some purposeful journeying happening afterwards, and we'll see how these two characters are thrown together. So we're just going to play and see how this goes. Mechanics, for anyone familiar with Ironsworn, we're utilizing the moves, which are very PBTA like, Powered by the Apocalypse like. Um, but this is essentially like a new system to me because of the plethora of moves that are available. So we will try to call them out when we can, when we do use them, and then the concept of progress tracks for certain things that we are trying to accomplish in this world. We will also try to mention and call out as well. So hopefully we can follow along with ourselves as well as anyone listening. So um,
Yeah, I think those things that are built on top of the standard PBTA type experience are there to support GMless play, right? So they're things around. There are slightly more moves than you might be typically used to because there's kind of a flow to the way the game operates and which moves can take you to which can drive the narrative in which directions. And then all of the progress tracks and table stuff are really to replace the type of stuff a GM does in terms of figuring out how much more you have to do in order to achieve a certain goal and that kind of thing, and giving you a chance to try to short circuit that and maybe succeed or fail at successfully completing something. So, and a lot of it just results in giving you a prompt for then defining, well, what does that actually mean in terms of the story?
okay, so we will take this opportunity to introduce our characters, um, rolling into a town that neither one really knows, just again, like a stop off point for the journey that they're taking. And then we will see what happens. And so, do you want to start or do you want me to?
I think, why don't you start with Ajla arriving in the town, and then I'll jump in at a certain point when you spot a certain character.
Okay. All right. So, Ajla is a traveling bard. She introduces herself usually as Ajla of Uldruk, the town that she's from. One, to make the town more known, and two, because she is proud of where she comes from. Nothing too fancy, nothing too plain, but, you know, it's a reference point for those that get to know her and her way of entertaining, which is by telling stories. She picks up stories, she tells stories, um, and she is always curious enough and on the hunt for more. So, the town that she has found herself approaching is called Carthus, and it's a moderately large village, town, partial walls, um, a great hall that people can go to for meetings or communal meals. Um, and she finds herself going to the Great Hall to introduce herself to the local alderman, I guess the leader of the town, in hopes to be able to entertain for bed and board for the evening. Um, she's going to stop off here, see what news, what other information that she can gather, and then go on to the next town like she always does and always has.
And I think as she's getting to this great hall outside, she sees a somewhat older, grizzled looking man who is um, quite bulky and in a muscular sort of way, not out of, obviously in good shape, but older, scarred, looks a little down on his luck. And he has a cart with a pulled by an ox. And he's he has like a pedal wheel sharpening, a whetstone thing, spinning. He has a little foot pedal that makes the stone spin, and he's sharpening people's axes and charging a small amount of money for this. He looks, he kind of is looking down, not meeting people's eyes, doesn't look like he's particularly enjoying this work. And maybe it's not paying super well, but he's, getting the odd customer, sharpening a knife or an axe or a blade of some kind for various people.
Ajla will take a look. She's always looking as well. She is always observing people and seeing what they do, how they are, if they talk, and how they look. Um, she herself is older as well. I mean, her hair is quite silvered in a thick braid down one side, over one shoulder, and she wears like very unassuming things. You would think a bard would be more spectacular, but that's not her way. She believes in the intimacy of the tale, the weaving of the story with people that want to listen and want to sit down and enjoy themselves for an evening. And she sees this peddler, and she's seen peddlers, she's seen merchants, she's seen travelers um, that provide services. But this is the first time I think that she's seen someone so drawn into himself that it's odd. So she will approach kind of quietly because she's waiting around by the other people that have brought their weapons or their implements that need to be sharpened to this peddler. And she just observes for a few minutes, waiting to see if he will actually look up. You're on mute.
Eventually he does, and almost meets her gaze and says, "Hi, lady. Anything you need sharpening there?"
I don't think so. Not at the moment. I just was wondering, friend, why you're not meeting people's eyes. Usually usually when I see axe sharpeners, or um, those that offer such services, they're usually trying to talk to people to um, I guess get past the boredom of the sharpening. Are you all right?
Well enough.
You know, hmm you can get more flies with honey. And she's trying to give you like a bright smile to see if you'll respond.
He kind of there's a half smile on the side of his face. "Aye, mayhap you're right. I never was much of a one for the talk." And I think at this point, a group of younger men come by on their way to the hall. They're dressed more as warriors. A couple of them have like a chainmail shirt on. They're all carrying swords or axes, a couple of helmets. And one of them, as he's walking past, kind of does a double take and looks back at the peddler. "Oi, aren't you Jurek the Hawk?" "Yeah, I remember you. Shekar's Devils, right? Jurek the Hawk. You fought in, oh, I don't know how many battles. What are you doing out here? Sharpening people's knives?" "Wait, fellas, look, I know this geezer. He's he was a real name back in the day. Why don't you come inside with us? Get you some, get you a couple of ales so you can tell us a story. Come on, come on."
At that, Ajla perks up and looks at the warrior fellow. A tale, a story, you say? Who is this?
"Oh yeah, he's full of them. This is Jurek the Hawk. He was a named man, famous.
Really?
Fought all across the Ironlands."
Huh. And she um looks down and then looks back at you, Urek, and huh, a hawk stooping to sharpening. Interesting. And she turns back to the warrior and I'm Ajla of Uldruk. I will be telling stories myself tonight at the Great Hall. I hope you will all come and see and hear what I have to tell. And also, if I can buy, well, maybe someone a drink to tell me all about this Jurek the Hawk, I'd be much obliged.
I expect he'll tell you himself once we get a few drinks inside him. Anyway, I'm Dag. I'm I'm here with the headman's guard. Used to be in the same war band as Europe back when I was a youngster. In saying this, he doesn't look more than like 20 now. And anyway, Jurek looks reluctantly kind of back at his whetstone and his cart and just, oh, what the hell? And tosses a kind of a rag over the top of the stone. And it's been a long enough day. And he heads inside with the others.
And Ajla will follow and look curiously after their um, after them going into the hall and look back at his cart and just wonder what kind of journey he must have taken to come down this way. All right. So we can either advance to the evening and or we could see how drunk Yurik could get and then see if he tells any tales or the others, Dag and the others will um, say anything of interest. Um, or you can also have Yurik talk to Ajla himself, if he's gotten enough drinks inside him.
I think he at a certain point before too long, the younger warriors kind of lose interest in him a little bit. He's not opening up to their prompting for stories and tales of heroism and glory and blood and thunder. He's kind of reluctant to talk to them, and they kind of just, they're not put off, but they eventually kind of lose interest in him. He's not drinking a huge amount. He has something to eat, but he's kind of keeping himself to himself as Ajla takes the floor. I'm guessing there's not really a stage, probably a
No, this is
cleared
basically
area and a
yeah, a
smoky
cleared
hut.
yep, cleared area. There's the great fire nearby, um, in an iron rimmed pen of sorts, um, almost like a bonfire, but more controlled, of course. And then there's the opening to the sky, so the smoke can be released, and the light flickers. There's some lamps, but I mean the illumination is more of being central to Carthus's great hall. And she is there. She's standing and she is doing a routine. It's the warm up stories, the feel good stories in the beginning as people are eating and drinking and getting warmed up to how she speaks and how she tells the tales. And then she will go into other stories, maybe of creatures that these people would never have seen, or the other peoples in the wild, in the territories. We're very close to Bolgham Wilds, and there's the possibility of the firstborn there. And she will also tell a tale or two to appease the warrior um, fellows that had come in earlier, and speak of legendary leaders and epic, maybe one epic tale of a mythological warrior that no one knows but talks of their exploits. And then the roundup is the intimate tale, where those who have had their fill will gather closer to the fire, and then she speaks, still standing, she speaks with a lower voice, softer cadence, and she leans into the fire as if trying to gather all of their gazes into hers and bringing them into the story as if they are the ones living it. And she's looking at every single one in the eyes of the audience to know that they are with her in the telling. And she rounds off, finishing the tale, and there's almost a hush, a silence, as people gather their thoughts, absorb what she's said and what she's told. And then only the pop of the wood in the fire awakens some, and then they kind of shake themselves out of it and order another round, or maybe have like a last bit of bread before they go and retire to, well, wherever they're going to go. And um, Ajla accepts maybe a smattering of applause. She does have a container of sorts nearby, and people have added some coin to it. And she'll take that, cover it with like a soft hat, and then come over to a table. Does she see Jurek there? Did Jurek come by and listen to the tales?
He listened, but to at least some of it. You saw him in a back corner, sitting quietly. It's not clear how much he was taking it in, but he was present for some of the time. But I think, yeah, by the time you finish, he's sloped off, he's disappeared. Some of the younger warriors are still there. In fact, their group has grown a little. There's quite a few. Some even more seasoned looking now. You know, it doesn't look like just a group of young men out to get drunk, so much as perhaps a group of colleagues or a group of comrades in arms.
The innkeeper of the town, as much as there is an inn, this is like a kind of a smallish town, but they do have some room there, will come over and bring Ajla some food and some ale. Story weaving is a thirsty business, and she is now hungered from not really having anything before she performed. And the innkeeper will look down at her and say, "If you need a little bit to tide you over, we can also give you a bed tonight if you need to stay. But I just want you to know, it's like there's some strange folk about, so be careful. Don't don't be getting into trouble now. I mean, make sure that you are leaving in the daylight, and
keeping yourself safe. You did get a little bit of coin tonight, so just want to make sure that everything will be fine.
And this innkeeper's actually a little younger than Ajla herself. And she's touched by the fact that this woman is worried about her, even though she's been on the road for quite some time and knows how to handle herself if need be. But she does take her warning to heart and nods and says, "Well, the bed's going to be appreciated for sure. When you say strange folk, are you speaking of them?" And she kind of juts her chin towards the young warriors, joined by the more seasoned warriors. And the innkeeper doesn't quite look, but just kind of glances at them with her peripheral vision, and says,
They're kind of new to Carthus, but no, actually, I was talking about.
And she lowers her voice into a deep whisper.
I was actually talking about them.
And then she juts her chin behind Ajla, and Ajla will do a peripheral turn and see that there are 3 figures in the shadow of one of the corners. They did not approach or get closer when Ajla was telling tales. These are what she recognizes as proponents of this newer religion, the Iron Priests. They all have squares of iron attached somehow to straps of leather, like almost bandoliers, on their chests, and they are wearing leather and fur, and they are also hooded in a strange way where their robes are almost surplices underneath the bandoliers of iron, and they are all sitting in shadow, not looking at anyone, but also looking at everyone. And this is what she observes just in a single glance. And she turns back to the innkeeper and says, "Why do you think they're here? Is there something going on here in Carthus?" And the innkeeper will lean down and say,
"Best not be getting into it. It's said that anyone that tries to approach the Iron Priests disappear. So, again, keep yourself safe. The bed is available tonight, and we can see you off in the morning with a bite of bread and some more ale if you need to. Bless thee for the evening."
and then she leaves. Ajla finishes her meal and will make like she's going to head towards the offered room at the inn. But she wants to see, possibly, where the Iron Priests are going. So she will stay in the shadows of the outside of the Great Hall and see if they leave and where they're going to go.
And I think at some point we see some of the group of warriors start making their way out. Dag is among them. And as they make their way out of the door of the hall, you hear Dag a little drunker than before say, "Oh, Jurek, that's where you got to. Come on, you want to see something? Come with us. We're off off to the, into the woods, as it were. There's a bit of some of you might be interested to see some of the warriors are coming with us. Come on, come on. And you don't hear his response, but yeah, they leave, and shortly afterward, I think we see the 3, did you say, Iron Priests? Also get up and make their way to the door.
Oh, Ajla's eyes are going wide. And she's watching all this go down. And she is going to follow the warriors, because it looks like the Iron Priests are heading in a similar direction, but she wants to see what they are so interestedly going to show Jurek, of all people. So she's going to follow. A little far behind, trying to make sure that she's not seen. It looks like they go into the woods of the Bolgham Wilds. And this is a place on the outskirts of town. They're shadowed. It doesn't seem to be any real moonlight available tonight. Maybe a few stars, which is strange because normally if it's a clear night, you can see a myriad of stars, different constellations, different patterns in the sky. But it is dark. Maybe just a few pinpoints of light. And their progress through the forest is not exactly quiet, but they are seeming to be trying to be stealthy the deeper they go. And it's a little bit of a time before they stop. And they stop because in the near distance, there seems to be like some flickering fire. And then there almost seems to be the sounds of chanting of some sort. And Ajla is extremely curious to see what is going on.
And I think what is going on is a bonfire among the trees. A group of men, and it does seem like they're all men in various forms of warrior attire, mostly, in a circle around this bonfire, and one of them is standing before the group, and he has in his hands, resting across a tree stump, a large sheathed sword. And it seems some kind of, it's pretty clear that this is some kind of warrior mystery cult. These things are not uncommon by any means. And the initiates are engaging in some kind of ceremony. What the relevance of the blade is to be established.
Is the blade in the middle of the clearing on top of the stump?
I think so, yes. Does that work for what you're thinking?
I think so, because there's a point at the ceremony once they stop doing the low chant that they bring out one of their own who's been stripped down to, I guess, to his waist. And he has symbols painted on himself, or I should say somebody has painted symbols on him, which look very martial in origin, like jagged edges and sharp angles, almost as if they're imitating the 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 blades that they all seem to have strapped to their back or their waist. And he raises his arms and says something in a language that Ajla has never heard before. In a guttural tone that sounds like it's an invocation. And two more of the warriors, who are fully armored and dressed, come to him, and one brings the sword, the other one stands behind him. And at this point, it becomes very clear that the one holding the sword is holding it out to the one behind this tattooed warrior, and is going to have him draw the sword and then put it into him. At this point, I think Ajla has gotten so close that she is right at the edge of the group and the clearing. So I don't know if we want to activate a mechanic at this point to see how much trouble she's getting into, because this is fascinating and she's damn curious.
I feel like we can roll with it a little further until
Okay.
dice hit the table, unless you want to.
I like I said, I'm okay either way. So what would you like?
So you want to see if she's noticed?
Yes.
Okay, let's. What do we think the likelihood of that might be?
I mean,
I'm just gonna look at that.
she's not really paying attention to her, to being stealthy herself. She's just so drawn in by what they've been doing, like been chanting, and then they've been like kind of like making gestures, and just like, this is, even if she doesn't get the details right, I mean, it's still a tale that she can tell later. What seems appropriate?
Yeah, I think what. It's. I'm actually having trouble finding just the basic like likelihood oracle of.
Let's see. I'm looking at the moves reference sheet.
Yeah, I probably should be looking in a different PDF here.
Ask the oracle when asking questions about combat events or your foe's intent and actions. Now, is that on this sheet? That's the question. Ask the oracle. When you seek to resolve questions, discover details in the world, determine how other characters respond, or trigger encounters or events. We're triggering an event, or sure.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Okay. So, will she be discovered? Decide the odds of a yes and roll on the table below to check the answer.
Yeah, that's the one I was looking for.
Okay. That's on the last page of the moves reference, of course.
Oh boy, yeah, right.
That's
So
the
it's
very
not in
last thing.
Okay.
I guess
Oh, I see. It's in the ask the oracle move. Yes. Okay. So I don't know. These people are pretty absorbed.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you know, there's sufficient light from the bonfire.
Yeah.
That if she moves, I don't know, what are we going to call this? 50-50?
Yeah, I would say 50-50.
All right. You know.
Okay.
Make the first roll of the game.
Yeah. Okay. So basically the 2 10s, right? And then go from there. 88.
They see her.
She probably makes a noise. She's so damn curious. She's drawn so damn close, and like her face is like probably illuminated like agog, mouth open, just like, And the warriors that are across the way that aren't paying necessarily complete attention to the figure in the middle, or figures in the middle, and also are across the way from her very obvious face, are just like, then they speak. And then they're like, "Hi! Someone's there!" And then the jig is up, basically. Oh.
So what's Ajla's action in this case? Is she's drawn toward this blade, right? She's something about
Not,
that.
well, I mean, she's
Fascinating
fascinated by
to her.
what's going on right now, but I'm thinking that, the two of, or like really at this point, only two of the warriors are coming out to see her and, bring her into the clearing. Now, nobody knows, or nobody suspects, that a life on the road is pretty damn tough. So, okay, now we go back to. Thank God for editing. Combat moves.
Oh,
So,
are we going straight
oh,
to that?
she's gonna brawl at this point.
All right, then at that point it's enter the fray, right? That's the first thing
Okay. All right. So,
you move. Um,
um, I
so
mean,
when you
it's
enter the
two of
fray
them.
in
Yeah.
combat, first set the rank of each of your foes.
Okay.
So
I mean, they're troublesome because they don't. I mean, at this point, they don't suspect that she's able to do shit. They're just gonna drag her into the clearing. So, troublesome or dangerous?
yeah, probably just troublesome. They're not on guard. Uh,
So she's definitely facing off against her foes. Roll with heart. Okay. So am I rolling the six-sided
you roll
die?
this. You roll all of the dice,
Oh,
and you will add your heart to the six-sided die. And what you want to do is you want the six-sided one plus heart to beat the other two.
okay. Let's see. I'm assuming. Well, I'm not going to assume anything at this point. I'm just going to roll mine and then see what happens.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, the two tens and
Two
then the
tens
six-sided.
and
The six.
yeah, and the tens are independent of one another.
Okay.
So,
All right.
and you're going to add your heart to this six-sided die, the d6.
Okay. Give me a second. Helps to know my stats. All right, great. So, to the six-sided die, 3 plus 3 is 6.
Nice.
And then the two 10-siders, a 5 and a 4.
Oh, so that's what's called a strong hit. So a strong hit is defined when the d6, which is called the action die, beats both of the d10s, which are called the challenge dice.
Nice.
So a strong hit is effectively equivalent to like a 10 plus in PBTA.
Okay. Oh, nice.
So it's kind of, it's a full success. A weak hit is if you beat one but not the other of the two of the d10s,
Got it.
and that's kind of your PBTA style 7 to 9 result. And a miss is
A miss. Yeah.
the d10s are higher or equal to, because in a tie in this game, the tie goes to the challenge dice. So you have to beat them not equally.
Oh, got it. Okay.
So
All right.
you take a strong hit. So you take +2 momentum and you have initiative. And what initiative means in the terms of combat is that you can take kind of proactive combat moves as opposed to reactive ones. So you have the drop on these people. You have the initiative, literally.
Which she
It's not
definitely does because they
yeah,
don't suspect that she's going
right,
to.
exactly. That's
As soon as they get close, she is essentially kicking one and punching the other.
nice. So we can go for so bump your momentum up. I think your momentum starts at 2, unless you have any kind of
So
debilities, which you wouldn't at this point.
No. And
So you're going to take +2 to that.
Okay,
so we'll
so
bump it
the
up to
number
4.
I'm changing to the number I'm changing on the character keeper is the one directly next to momentum. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm just trying to find it. Sorry, I'm
That's all right.
finding my way around this character keeper. Yes, exactly. Yeah. So what momentum does is we can use this later
Okay.
to improve the result of a roll
Okay.
by doing something called burning momentum. And that is
Okay.
somewhat equivalent to in the between using a mask in Brindlewood Bay, doing whatever the thing, the name eludes me there, but the crown, exactly. So
sure.
it lets you kind of burn this momentum score, and what that'll do is it'll reset it down to 2.
Okay.
But you will replace your action score with whatever the momentum was at its highest. So if you burned it now, you would replace it with a 4, which is obviously not super good. But if you have it like all the way up to a 10 or something,
yeah,
you can turn a bad situation right around. But then it does reset your momentum back down again, and you've got to build it up again via these type of results and moves. So a lot of moves will give you like +1 or +2 to momentum as a result of a hit of some kind.
Okay. So
anyway, we're getting ahead of ourselves now, but you've successfully entered the fray and have initiative. So that will allow you to do a proactive move, which would be like the typical one is strike, which is you said, I'm going to hit and kick these guys. So yeah, that's close quarters attack. But you also have the brawler asset, right?
Which is the secure an advantage, I believe, is what it's described as. Yes, so when you secure an advantage plus iron by engaging close quarters. Oh yeah. Add 1.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so we could go for securing an advantage by this point is, what are you trying to do? Are you trying to escape or just evade their?
Yeah, just to well, at this point, I mean, like, they all know I'm there, so it'd be tough to try to get like away, but at the very least at this point, like, she's got the 2 close quarters and she is kicking one, punching the other.
So that, yeah, I mean, to me, that sounds straight like a strike, because secure an advantage is kind of when you assess a situation, make preparations or attempt to gain leverage, which is certainly something you can do in the course of combat.
Right.
But I think in this case, you're just lashing out immediately, right?
Pretty much. I mean, it's like, get away from me.
So let's go straight to strike.
Yep. Okay.
When you have the initiative and attack in close quarters, that's the trigger for the move.
All right. So then I do the same thing. Roll the two d10s and then the 6, right?
This time you're gonna add your iron to the 6,
which luckily is not that far off. So, okay. And why did I just say that? Because I'm silly. Come on, dice. All right. Woo. Okay. So 5 + 2 is 7. That's for the 6-sided. And then for the 2 d10s, I have a 2 and a 4.
So again, a strong hit. That's fantastic. So you inflict +1 harm. So you are attacking barehanded at this point, right? So I think that's 1 harm as standard, and you get +1 for the strong hit. So that's 2 harm, and you retain initiative, which means you can carry on and take another action. Now let's go back to the rank of the opponents, which I've lost now. This stuff will get smoother as we play more.
Of course, and that's.
But I'm going to create a progress track for this fight.
Oh, okay. So basically, okay. Did I say troublesome or dangerous at this point? Troublesome, right?
I think we said troublesome. Yeah.
Okay. So I've inflicted 2 harm, which counts as 3 progress per harm.
3 progress per harm, right?
Yeah. So 6.
So you've done 6 progress. Yeah. Yep. Against in this fight. That's pretty good.
Now, of course, she's gotten them by surprise, but this ain't lasting very long, and there's a bunch of these guys.
Right. I think it's troublesome against these 2 initial ones, but like if the others get involved, we may have to add additional complexity to this.
Yeah. So curiosity may almost kill the cat. We'll see how this goes.
But yeah, Ajla still has the initiative as we stand. So
okay.
what is she going to do now? Is she going to hit them again or make some kind of other
Now, what's the difference between
action?
strike and clash?
So strike is what you use when you have the initiative, and
Oh, when
clash
you
is
foe.
when
Okay,
your
when you
foe has the
foe.
initiative.
Got it. Okay.
So basically, strike gives you more leverage,
Okay.
and you're more likely to get a more decisive outcome from it.
Okay, great. I mean, I can
Clash
I
is
can I can continue to strike while I
so. I
still have the
mean,
upper
if
hand.
you're trying to take these guys out, or are you trying to get away,
Uh,
do something else?
I mean, I just
And these two are the guys. This is the one guy who with the tattoos slash markings, and the one
no,
with
they're
the
still in the
blade.
center.
They're
They're still in the center with the
okay.
with the blade.
Hmm.
I mean, she's obviously disrupted whatever the hell they were going to be doing, which was looking like they were going to um, run the guy through with the sword itself, which, you know, that looked wrong. So I mean, at this point, she's just like worried about the two that's in front of her, um, not really able to see like what's going on behind them yet. Like what the other people are doing, what the ceremonial people are doing. So I mean, at this point, she's just like close quarters and also focused on that as well. She's not really thinking about getting away, which is weird, but
Hmm.
you know, um, yeah. Because she's also not sure whether she's going to be able to get away, given the amount of people that are here anyhow.
Right. Yeah.
She might as well follow, she might as well just fight her way through. Fantastic.
Okay.
This is a story.
Let's roll with that. Roll with that initiative then, and
Okay. Iron
let's
plus
take it.
2. Okay, great. Well, fuck. Okay.
The tides are turned
So yeah,
as they.
it's a 4. No, it's a 5. Yeah, it's a 5 for the action die, and then the one D10 has a 5, and the other one's a 2.
Oh, so it's a weak hit still.
Okay.
Um, so at that point, the result of a weak hit is you inflict your harm and you lose initiative. So we were saying it's 3 points per harm, right? So
Yes. Mm-hmm.
oh boy, so that already brings it up to like 9 out of 10
Okay.
progress. So that, but so what does this look like as?
Well,
But
I mean,
if
if
the
I
foes gain the initiative at that point,
okay.
is the initiative lost because they kind of
Yeah.
start to rally themselves and the
Yeah, they're
other
rallying themselves
warriors start to
about
get involved?
yes. So I mean, like it's like she's beating you guys up. You guys suck. And she's barehanded too, which is even better. So,
And
yeah.
maybe I'm just curious where the blade comes into this, as we know it's
Mhm.
story wise it's going to.
Mhm. Absolutely. I mean, I think as she's been fighting them, I think she's been advancing because they're not going to expect that from
Mm-hmm.
her. They just expected to take her, drag her in, and then would do what the hell ever, capture her or kill her, at that point. But no, she is bringing the shit to them, and she's advancing on them because that's surprise. So that's why she was able to kind of hold her own for a little bit. And yeah. Yeah. So that's that, and she's basically losing the initiative right now because it's like they're wait, we're being beaten by an unarmed woman. What the hell?
Yeah, or maybe losing the initiative is kind of represented by she fights away past these two, and then it's
Yeah.
like, well, now there's a whole load more of them. Why am I going this direction?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But
Okay.
then again, well, player wise, we know why she's doing this, but character wise, it's like it's just how she ended up. So
And I think at this point, yeah. So at this point, as Ajla stumbles forward into the light of the bonfire, past these two,
mm-hmm.
um, yeah, Jurek will look up, confused. um,
I mean,
see her.
what has he been thinking of the ceremony at all? Like
Yeah,
this
I think
far, you
he was
know?
starting to, he thought this was just some dumb kids, not kids, but he's seen this type of stuff before. People who are devoted to kind of blade cults or warrior gods or these kind of secret societies, elite groups within fighting companies. It's common enough he's never been a member of any such thing. It's not really his scene as such. He was definitely taken aback by the suggestion, and he wasn't, he was just trying to get through his mind, is this like, are they actually going to kill this person here? Because that's like a whole other level of more than he was expecting this to be, a whole nother level of seriousness to what he was expecting. But I think perhaps as he, as Ajla stumbles forward, and Jurek sees who it is, he's going to leap up and try and cause a distraction for her. At which point, that's Jurek entering the fray, right? So
Yes.
there's a whole bunch more of these guys here. So are we going to create a separate track for the kind of larger group?
I think so. I think we have to do that because it's just too well. Then it starts becoming unwieldy, like some of those games that we don't like.
Right, because I think you're pretty much done with your two. You could
Yes.
certainly end that fight as it was. So
Yeah.
let's call this other group dangerous, right?
Okay.
So
Yeah. That sounds good.
And let me see. So I'm going to add my heart. Let me look up what heart is. I think it's 2.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And the dice be with me. The challenge dice are a 5 and a 7. And the action dice is a 5 plus a 2, making a 7. So that's a weak hit.
Okay.
So I'm entering the fray on a weak hit. Choose one. Bolster your position by taking +2 momentum, or prepare to act by taking initiative. So basically, on the strong hit, you got both of those results, and I have to pick one of them.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take the +2 momentum, but not
Okay.
have the initiative here.
Okay.
I think
Sure.
so. Bump up to 4 momentum, and now we've got another track for the kind of
Dangerous
larger.
Right.
Right. I don't know if we're doing this combat right, but it's
We're just playing. It's fun.
yeah, exactly. Let's roll with it,
We can
and
read.
yeah, when we come to the second fight, I'll have read the rules again, because
Yeah.
now I'm like thinking, is this how this is supposed to work? Are you supposed to have like a track per enemy? I don't think you do. I think you have like a track for the fight as a whole.
I mean, as you said, I mean, like, even some of these moves can just cover it all. If we don't want to
Exactly.
engage,
Yeah,
we can just go straight to battle, and then
exactly.
it's a blur, and then we just roll, and then that's it. Which is, I mean, we didn't do it this way, but I mean, I wanted to see how the mechanics worked. It was fine. Let's
But
take
yeah,
like before you move further along on what you're doing. Let's take a 5 minute
sounds
cuz
good.
yeah, and then we'll come back to this because this is fun. All right. So 5 minutes, so that for me is 42. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. All right. See you in 5.
Okay. See you in 5. You're going to stop the recording? yeah, so I think what we see is Jurek leap up and try and grab a branch from the fire, but he's the person sitting next to him or standing next to him is kind of already on edge and sees that he's trying to do something that he shouldn't be doing. Maybe this is also some kind of infiltrator. So he's going to move to stop Jurek from whatever he's trying to do. And yeah, is this a clash? I don't know that Jurek's trying to hurt him as such yet. He was trying to do something else. So I think he's going to go. We're going to make a face danger move. Jurek's trying to go for this brand. So this is kind of speed, I guess. So I'm guessing this is edge, which I think is Jurek's weak stat. But that's life. Let's see how this goes. That is a 5 and a 5 on the challenge dice, and a 5+1 on the action dice. I rolled all 5s, so I got a strong hit, and in addition, it's a double on the challenge dice. So that's like a special opportunity. So this allows me to take
1 momentum.
Yeah.
And now you were just doing an action with the taking the branch, right? I mean, like you weren't doing anything
right.
with your combat or
No, exactly. I wasn't like specifically trying to hit him with it or anything, but right. Trying to grab a burning brand from the fire. So strong hit. I'm successful. I take +1 momentum, and does that give me the initiative? This is my only question here. So I'm at momentum 5 now, and I'm trying to figure out if the only way to take initiative is via clash move, or if there is another move, I have it in my mind that kind of any strong hit puts you into the initiative position.
Yeah, that's what it looks like. I mean, you literally have to be like, you face the danger, you're going for it, and then now it feels like you're entering the fray. I mean,
yeah, well, I kind of already entered the fray, and I didn't get the initiative first off, but I managed to regain it now, I think. So okay.
We'll call it. We'll say, you got the hang of it now, and then so you're going to strike, or you're going
I think I'm going to actually go for an aid your ally move, which allows me to kind of set something up for you. So really what Jurek is trying to do is create a distraction for Ajla.
Okay.
So so what this will allow me to do is, if I get a strong hit, both of you then take a retained initiative. On a weak hit or a miss, you both lose initiative. So that's this could go super, super badly really quickly.
That's the fun.
Yeah, but I think
staying positive. Here we go. Yeah, secure an advantage and direct support of an ally and score a hit. Yep. Okay.
Right. So I'm going to make an argument for this being iron because
yes,
Jurek's going to kind of roar a challenge and swing this burning brand at. Not necessarily attempting to hit somebody, but like brandish it effectively.
Clear the way. Sure.
Now let's go for a secure advantage plus iron. Oh dear, I rolled a 1 on the action die, so that's a 4, and I rolled 2 5s on the challenge dice again, so that's a miss. And it's kind of like an extra disaster.
We both lose.
We both lose initiative. You already didn't have initiative, but also it's like a double on the challenge dice again. So that is kind of an extra level of badness. So I'm probably going to make a softer move at that point, right? Like something went badly wrong here.
All right.
So maybe I'm going to endure harm.
Okay. I mean, at this point, I mean, like, do you have to have initiative to do something like turn the tide?
Yes, you
Fuck.
do.
Damn it.
Yeah, because you've also got the option of end the fight for
Oh,
that
okay. I
first
mean,
first fight. But you need to, yeah, you need to be coming off a strong hit in order to do that.
okay.
So you would need to, yeah. Let's switch the focus back over to Ajla here
Okay.
while we determine what has gone so badly wrong with Jurek. But I think he's basically going to get hit by this guy next to him.
Because at this point, I'm thinking that she's gotten to the middle. She's gotten to the
Mm-hmm.
clearing where they're about ready to stab the guy through with the sword.
Yep.
And her deal now is to prevent that because she's misunderstanding the situation. Like, he can't possibly want to be
Oh,
stabbed with this. What? What are you
I
talking
like
about?
it.
You know?
Yeah.
So she's gonna try and, well, punch the guy with the sword. She's gonna like,
Yeah.
go for it. I mean, and again, I'm not sure like how this works with the two thingies, like the turn the tide or end the fight, because I mean, again, that's her aim. That's what she wants to do.
Yeah. Is this a turn the tide thing? It could
I mean,
be
she's risking it all, I would think, because
risking it
like
all
there's like
to recover control of the
and
fight. Yeah.
steal
So
initiative from your foe to make a move.
yeah. So you roll this with okay, whatever's appropriate under. Yeah, so
Extremely
it's just the move can
foolhardy.
be whatever is appropriate under the
I mean,
circumstances,
I want to
likely
say,
strike or secure an
well,
advantage.
I want to say heart because I mean, damn it, she's like throwing in. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah, so is this
not
kind of
just
a
her
secure an advantage thing
brawler.
then?
I mean,
Yeah,
whatever
you
gives
could.
me the most pluses that I can roll with. That's all I'm
Well, you
saying.
could. Right, you could use your brawl ability here, where you're secure an advantage plus iron,
Yeah.
right?
Well,
By punching, trapping, tripping, or grappling.
yeah. Oh, yeah. That's true. Okay. So
So yeah, so you're going to get so you're going to go with plus iron, and you get an additional plus one. So you're
already
rolling
three. So
plus
that's
3.
okay. So then, all right. Whatever makes sense in the fiction. Okay. Oh, pretty. 3 plus 3 is 6. And then the two d10s, one is a 2, and the other one's a 3.
Oh, so a strong hit. Perfect. So
Yay.
you get to inflict a harm
Yup.
because of your brawler ability.
Yup.
So this is on the kind of second fight, the dangerous one we established, right? So that's
Yes.
a two marks per harm, is it?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Two progress per harm.
Yep.
So that's a 2 now. And you also get the initiative because this is an attempt to turn the tide, right?
Yep. So I'm stealing initiative.
You also get
plus, wait, take 1 momentum on a hit. So I get up to 5 now for my momentum.
you get you get to choose one as well. Take control, make another move now, which is not a progress move, and when you do, add plus 1, or you can take plus 2 momentum.
Oh. That's a good question. I'm not sure which one would be better at this point.
Yeah, and I think you get plus 1 momentum anyway from the turn the tide thing.
Okay, so yeah, I already added one momentum to my.
And then the strong hit from secure advantage gives you either the ability to take control, which lets you make another move straight away, or
yes, I do want to. That's the secure advantage.
Yeah.
Okay, hold on.
or you can take the 2 momentum and
I'm just gonna take the 2 momentum because it's like, I mean, I know what she's going to do, but I'm not sure how that translates necessarily for
cool.
doing
so
it.
she kind of leapt forward and hit the guy holding the blade.
She's punched the guy holding the blade. Now, I mean, we're not rolling for this because fictionally I already know what's going to happen.
You've done it. You inflicted harm. Yeah.
As she's punching this guy, something happens with the blade that it draws blood. Like it flicks her, or like, you know, she gets cut as you know, he's veering away or getting punched out, and some of her blood ends up on the blade. When that happens, fictionally, it's like this feeling of being sucked backwards into herself comes over her. And in the moment, it feels like she hears someone talking, as if from the bottom of a well. It's very echoey, barely heard, but she can hear it in this split second, which is she hears somebody whispering, "Take me." And she can see her hand, the one that's not punching, she can see her hand reaching for the hilt of the blade.
And perhaps he's even dropped it at this point because, you know, she landed a good punch on the guy.
Right. But I mean, like, yeah, as she gets cut, like that split second, and then now she's reaching for the blade.
And I think at this point, I'm going to resolve this endure harm move for Jurek. So he, you know, we kind of determined that due to that double on the fail of the challenge, he is going to take some harm. I don't know. Let's say it's 1 harm. And then I can roll plus health or iron, whichever is higher. My health is higher because it's now a 4 after I've taken that 1 harm. So that's a 4 plus a 4 is an 8 versus a 7 and a 10. So that's a weak hit. On a weak hit, you press on. So I took the 1 harm, and that's, yeah, it's not any worse than that.
Okay.
So I'm down to 5 health. Okay. And at that point, Ajla is reaching for the blade.
Yep.
And I imagine she's doing that kind of slowly and not.
Well, I mean, she's just come out of a punch with the guy that was behind the tattooed fella, who's a big specimen himself. I mean, like, you know, he's tattooed with these blade symbols like all over his upper body, and you know, as that's happening, as she's punching the guy in the back that had the sword, these two, the one who had the sheath and the tattooed fella, are now turning and bringing their attention to her.
Okay, and I think at this moment, Jurek is recovering from his pretty disastrous entry in the battle, and he's gonna clash with this person who is trying to prevent him from causing a distraction. So this is going to be iron plus iron. Oh, I got a 6 plus 3 is a 9 versus a 5 and a 2. That's a strong hit on the clash.
Nice.
So I think what this looks like is Jurek just recovers from his blundering misstep, and he grabs the guy by both shoulders with his hands and just headbutts him straight in the face.
Nice.
And on a strong hit, inflict your harm and choose 1. So I'm going to inflict some harm. I'm unarmed at the moment, so that's just going to be a single harm. So that goes up to 4 progress. And then I can either bolster your position, take +1 momentum, or find an opening, inflict +1 harm. Interesting.
I mean, at some point, I mean, like, this is just, again, thinking. I mean, like, as you're giving him a headbutt, it's like you're like reaching for his sword or whatever.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Got.
Is that I'm gonna go for this as the take +1 momentum, bolstering, and like describing, bolstering my position, I'm taking his sword away. Like
Yes.
he's not, maybe he's not even drawn it at this point.
No, he hasn't. Like you're like,
Yeah,
you've just boom and like you're just following your motion and then like you're reaching down for what he hasn't drawn yet.
right. So
Um,
I have I have the initiative. I'm up to 6 momentum, and I
nice.
now have a deadly weapon.
Mhm. Yep.
Over to Ajla. What is going on with her?
So she's got the sword. She's reached down, she's got the sword, but then she sees the two like turning to her now. And it's like after hearing that voice, after being sucked into herself and then seeing herself from inside outside reaching for the blade and grabbing it, I think at this point she's going to, weirdly enough, she's not going to use the blade because that's what she didn't want to have happen, was like, shove a blade into somebody or to have somebody like, stabbed. So she's actually going to move the hand that has the sword in it and then like reach up and punch with her other hand. So I don't know which one is that. Is that strike now again, or is that something else? I mean, at this point I could even like try to end the fight, I would imagine, if I still have initiative. I mean, at least my fight, like with the guys in the center. I think you're on mute. Yes, you're on mute.
You had actually lost the initiative, right? Or am I misremembering now?
I don't
Because
remember now.
I tried to aid you, and then
Oh
that's
yeah,
when
well,
I
I mean,
went
like, yeah, if we're
disastrously
going off of
wrong.
your move, that was that lost initiative.
So
So now,
you could turn and fight those initial two that were trying to grab you. Maybe they're coming to the aid of this kind of cult leader, whatever he is, with the blade and the willing sacrifice slash
hmm,
devotee.
right. I mean,
So
like,
maybe at that point that is a clash,
okay,
and it's close quarters, so plus iron. See if you can gain the initiative back, and then you could try and end that first combat track
yeah, that's
if
what
you
I'm
can get a
thinking.
strong hit here.
Sure. Okay.
So get a strong hit is what I'm saying.
Okay. Okay. So that's, oh boy. I don't know. So, oh wait. Yeah, it is. I can't do math. 4 plus 2 is 6, and then
Mm.
the challenge die are 5 and 0.
0 is a 10 though,
Oh
so
shit. Never mind.
that's a weak hit.
God dang it. Okay.
That's a weak hit.
Oh no. Wait.
So you
Clash.
inflict some harm. This is on the first group, right? The guys who were initially trying to
Mm-mm.
tackle you.
No,
No, this is on the.
I'm in
Okay, cool.
I'm engaged with the tattooed guy and the
Oh, good. Well,
guy.
that's up to 6 progress, but you also pay the price, and your foe has the initiative. So let's do this. Look at this pay the price, which we haven't used
No, we haven't.
yet.
Pay
When
the
you suffer
price.
the outcome of the move, choose one. Make the most obvious negative outcome happen, or envision 2 negative outcomes. Rate one as likely and ask the oracle. Or roll on the following table. If you're having difficulty interpreting the result, fit in the situation, roll again. So is there an obvious outcome here?
Hold on. So she was trying to not stab the guys. She was trying to punch the tattoo guy out to at least clear her way. I envision 2 negative outcomes. One is, give me a second. A new danger or foe is revealed, because this is where the Iron Priest, like, burst into the scene. That's
Oh,
for
I
definite
like it.
sure.
Yeah, that's
Um,
cool.
and then, what happens? I mean, because it's like the two things that I don't understand, like what this means.
Mm-hmm.
It is harmful or it's stressful.
Oh, it's like whether you're taking damage to your health or your stress
Oh.
score. It's literally just that.
Where's the stress score? I don't see stress.
It's right under your health on your
Is that spirit?
spirit. I'm sorry. Yes, stress. Yeah, stress damages spirit, and harm damages health.
Okay.
So health is like your physical hit points,
Okay.
effectively, and spirit is your kind of mental
Okay. Well,
fortitude and
I'm gonna
reserves.
say yes. I'm gonna say it's stressful and like new danger or foes revealed because the Iron Priests are now bursting into the clearing, gonna be messing with them, and conceivably, she gonna try to get away now.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So maybe the reality of the situation is kind of dawning on her of like, why am I fighting these crazy
Yeah,
dudes in a forest?
and again, she's kind of half like very dimly, barely like registering that she's got the sword. You know,
Mm.
so she's not doing anything with it. She just has it. And then, of course, now it's stressful, so she's experiencing some like mental waha. And then the Iron Priest burst into the clearing.
Okay, so they are dangerous foes. It says uh, suffer spirit, suffer minus spirit equal to your foe's rank. So your foe does like 2 harm.
Okay, so
So you're
two.
going to lose 2 spirit,
Okay,
and then you can roll
okay,
plus heart or plus spirit, whichever is higher. I think your heart and spirit are now the same,
yeah.
so it doesn't matter. So
So what
yeah,
am
so
I?
roll plus 3,
Okay, and I'm doing the same
and
thing. The
yeah,
challenge versus.
this is the endure stress move.
Okay, got it. Okay.
So it's like, how bad is this?
Okay, so we've got. Dang it, I can't see. Eyes. Here we go. All right. So 5 plus 3,
3, 8.
8.
That's good.
Okay. So versus a 7 and a 6.
A strong hit.
Okay.
So you shake it off. If your spirit is greater than 0,
Yeah.
you can, if you want. Oh, this is choose one. Sorry, you can either shake it off. So that means you can trade 1 momentum for 1 spirit. So you can spirit can go back up to 4 and you lose 1 momentum, or you can embrace the darkness and take +1 momentum.
um. Can you? How do you recover spirit?
There's like there are various moves around, like downtime type moves, making camp and resupplying and
I think we're
healing. There's a
okay. So the other thing. So momentum is I can get +2 momentum on this.
+1. You can take +1 momentum, which will bring your momentum up to 8.
8.
That's pretty good.
Okay. I thought you said I get
Um,
+2 momentum. Sorry, I'm trying to get as much
no,
as I can.
you start at +2. It has what's called a reset value. So
Oh, okay.
which is right under it there on there. So it's got
Ah,
a max and a reset.
okay.
So if you burn momentum, it goes down to the reset
Okay.
value, whatever that is. And your reset value can be lowered if you have like debilitating injuries
Ah, okay.
or you're cursed or these kind
Yeah,
of
I can
various
see that
things.
now. Yeah. So you
So
once you
typically
start
it's
checking these, yeah,
yeah,
start
typically
messing with
it's
it.
2, but yeah, these things above that, the wounded, shaken, and so on.
Okay. All right.
And those are kind of the bad results of like one of your health or spirit tracks dropping to 0, and then bad stuff happens from there, like you take serious wounds or
All right.
get
So
maimed or whatever.
embracing the darkness because yeah, there's some funky shit going down, and
Right.
I'm just gonna take the momentum. Okay. So now that I've done that, and the Iron Priests are now in the clearing,
Yeah.
can we get the hell out of here?
I
now?
think maybe so. Yeah. So uh Jurek has the initiative now, right?
Yeah.
So I think what he's going to do is try to aid you in getting out of there. So I think he will kind of shout to Ajla, run, and swing this sword he's just got at
Okay.
um you know yeah, I think he's striking. What the
Okay.
hell?
Sure.
He's gonna make a strike. And oh no, this is kind of actually I'm gonna go for a kind of aid him enemy, because I want to give you Or I could end the fight.
Yeah, you could. I mean, if you have the initiative, right? I mean, that's how it works.
Yeah, I mean, the progress is only a 6 at the moment, so that's pretty risky. Basically, what would happen then to try and end the fight? I would roll a 2d10s and versus that 6, as though it's like a fixed action score of a
Oh
6.
shit.
So,
Oh god. Okay.
6 is pushing it. I fancy my chances on the other one better, which is where we're at a 9 against those kind of initial 2 guys. But so I think maybe I'm going to go for a strike first, and then
Okay, that's fine.
if I do that, no, but I really want to give you the initiative.
Okay. Well.
So
How do you...
let's go
Just
for a
only by
strike.
A, the other. Okay.
Yeah, let's go for a strike first, and then I can try and do that afterward.
Okay.
So roll +9. That's a 4 plus a 3 is a 7 versus 8 and a 1. So I get a weak hit.
So inflict your
strike.
harm.
Inflict your harm and lose initiative. So that. But I'm using a deadly weapon now.
Yep.
So I do 2 harm.
Okay.
And they are a dangerous foe. So 2 progress per harm. So that adds 4 progress. So yeah, I think Jurek chops into one of the other combatants that are going for Ajla.
Yeah.
But at that and cuts him down. Okay. But at that point, a bunch of them turn toward him, and he's now facing them down, and hence lost the initiative.
Yeah, I can see that.
So yeah, let's throw it back over to. And what are the Iron Priests doing at this point as well? Are they taking advantage of the confusion in some way?
Yeah, they are. But they seem to be like trying to cut down the people that are in front of them when they burst into the clearing, and they're trying to get to the tattooed fella and the sheath guy. That's their goal. That's who. And that's also
right where Ajla is.
Yeah. So.
Okay. So how is she going to try and get out of there?
I mean, she's gonna. Again, like, she's barely conscious of the fact she has the sword in her hand, but she didn't want the tattooed guy to get stabbed through by the sword, so she's not gonna use it. I feel like if she's gonna do anything, she's gonna try to punch her way out and then get to the edge of the clearing to leave. I feel that's what she's gonna try to do.
In fairness, that sounds like a securing advantage with iron, using your brawler skill to fight your way through and get out of there. So
that's what I'm thinking. Let me see.
You get like a +1 on that?
Yes.
Plus iron +1.
Plus iron +1, so +3, and then all right. So let me try it.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay. So, well, I don't know. Let me see. 5 plus 3. I can do math. 8.
It's an 8
versus 7 and an 8.
Oh, it's a weak hit. That's okay.
So secure advantage. Hold on.
So on a weak hit, your advantage is short-lived. Take +1 momentum.
Okay.
It's bringing your momentum to 9. You could at this point burn momentum if you wanted to turn that into a strong. What were the challenge dice?
7 and 8.
The highest one was an 8.
Yeah.
So you could. So the way burning momentum works is, if you have momentum higher than one of the challenge dice, you can burn momentum to cancel that challenge dice.
Okay.
So in that case, you could cancel the 8 and turn the weak hit into a strong hit.
Okay. So let's see.
If you want to.
Well, hold on. Strong hit. Gain advantage. Choose one. Take control.
Yeah, which would allow you to do the end the fight move.
Okay. All right. Or get 2 momentum back.
Yeah.
But I mean, if I take control, then that means I can end the fight.
Exactly. Yeah, you gain initiative at that point.
Okay. So, how much momentum am I burning?
You burn all the way down to whenever you burn, you just always go back down to the reset value.
Okay. All right, I'm doing it.
But that cancels that higher challenge dice. So now you turn that weak hit into a strong hit.
Okay, so now I'm going to end the
And you're
fight
going
with a
to end
plus
the
one.
fight with a +1.
Let me
Nice.
see, where is it? There we go. Okay. Whew, decisive action. Damn straight. All right.
Yeah, so roll the challenge dice, so just the 2d10s, and compare to the progress in the fight, which I think is at a 9. Oh, it's even higher. No, it's a 10 already. So,
Oh,
yeah,
okay. So
like the
I'm just
worst you
rolling.
can, yeah, you can, yeah, if you roll 00, you're going to miss, but otherwise,
All
it's,
right.
yeah, you just roll the d10s at this point.
Okay. One's a 4, one's a 9.
That's a strong hit.
Okay.
So,
I've
on a
ended with.
strong hit, this foe is no longer in the fight. They're killed out of action, flee or surrender as appropriate to the situation. I think what that looks like in this situation
Mhm.
is they're tangled up with the Iron Priest and we're able to get
Yes.
away,
Yes.
right?
Yep. Like basically the
Um,
Iron Priests have advanced enough into the clearing to engage the tattooed guy and the sheath guy, and they're not paying attention to Ajla like backing and running the fuck away right now.
yeah,
She's out of there. I really don't think that she unfortunately registered that Yurik was there. I mean, I actually don't know whether she would have been able to do anything to help him. So now he's like stuck in melee or whatever. So,
yeah, he kind of is. But if the fight is ended,
yeah.
I kind of take that to mean he can get away as well.
I would imagine so because again, the Iron Priests have. I mean, we only saw the
Yeah,
three. Yeah, we
right,
only
right,
saw
right.
the three, but fictionally there were more. There were
I don't see
more.
any reason why not. Yeah,
Yeah, there were more in the wherever they were going. It was just these three that decided to get a drink. I mean, So
yeah, they were kind of watched. They were the advanced party, or they were
yeah,
watching out, or yeah.
right. Or like they were like trying to figure out where the Blade cult was going to be, and so therefore
Mm.
they were the ones to track them, and then the others were waiting elsewhere before joining their companions.
So
So
maybe at this point, there's even like a couple of arrows come flying out of the trees or something like
I would
that.
say
With
so. So I mean, like I
and in the confusion,
yeah, Yurik is able to get the hell
Yurik
out.
is able to get away as well.
Right. So
Okay,
well, that was exciting.
that was end of combat, and we run off into the trees.
Yep. She's
You
running.
want to, yeah. You want to take a short break at that point, and then we figure out what to do from there on. Because I think the next thing is kind of Iron Bow's time, or we could go straight to that. Right?
Well, I mean, I would imagine the next thing would be she's running, not really paying attention at this point to where she's running. Like
I think you're
she'll get to a point where she's gonna not be able to hear the fighting anymore from the clearing,
but yeah, but
right?
what she maybe can hear is somebody still running after her.
Yes, exactly. But if she's away enough that she doesn't hear the big battle or see the
Mm,
bonfire anymore,
right.
she's gonna stop and she's going to turn around and then realize then that she does have the sword in her hand, and she's just going to, I mean, she doesn't really know like necessarily like how to use a blade, like per se, at least not one this big. um
Mm-hmm.
and she's just going to kind of like be in a stance where she's ready with a punch, or she's going to like try to use this thing in some way, and she's going to face whomever's behind her.
Yeah, and running behind her, and suddenly running to a stop in front of her is Urek. Uh, the hell are you doing back there?
You wouldn't understand if I tried to tell you. And I think at this point we're in a different part of the forest. We're further away from Carthus. And even though there wasn't a moon near Carthus, now we see like a shaft of moonlight where we are through the canopy. And there's more stars here. So, I mean, that dimly registers with Ajla, but then she's confronting um, Yurik being very, very, I don't know what the look is on his face at this point. She's just too tired and and a little beat up to worry about it at the moment. But yeah, you wouldn't understand if I tried to tell you. Um, and it seems I have this sword now. Do you want it? I mean, I don't really use blades. I mean, I I don't know why I picked it up. I honestly don't.
I
Should
got
I leave it
myself
here?
one already. You should probably keep that one.
I don't know how to use this thing. I I'm a bard. What am I going to do with this? I
You put the sharp end into the guy who's trying to hurt you is what you do with it.
I was trying to prevent that from happening to that fellow with all the symbols on him. I mean, did you see? I mean, they were going to run him through with this thing.
Maybe they were just going to give him a surface cut. So, I don't know that it was as deadly as you think.
I and at this point, as Aja's like, taking a look at it and then turning it around a little bit, the blade is visible through the shaft of moonlight. And as the moonlight falls on it, then we both see that it has this strange glow. It's not just the light shining on it that's causing a gleam, but there is now a glow surrounding the whole sword. And only Ajla can read the words that are written on the actual blade part. And she says, of course, it's like, where'd I put it? Haha. Thank God for editing. In the moonlight, she reads the words, "Blood of my blood, called bound until vow is fulfilled." And she whispers this out loud so Jurek can hear. What does that mean?
What's that you're saying?
I'm reading what's on the blade. Can't you see it? It says, "Blood of my blood, called bound until vow is fulfilled." Look, it's right here. And she's showing you the blade. All
It
you
looks
see is
just like
glow.
it looks plain enough to me. I don't see anything. Any writing.
You don't see this? This is it's well, clear as moonlight, I guess. I mean, blood of my blood, called bound until vow is fulfilled. Wait, does this mean that this I'm attached to this thing? This thing? She's going to, just for funsies, she's going to have a look on her face of, "Oh, no, you don't." And she's actually going to throw it. She's going to throw it into the woods.
And Jurek watches that and be quiet. What are you doing? They could be looking for us.
I'm not being bound to this thing. I don't know how to use a sword. I tell stories. I'm not part of them.
Well, let's get out of here then. Leave it there.
That's fine. Fine with me. Do you think it's safe to go back to Carthus?
If we want to go through those folk back there, we're on the wrong side of them for getting back to the town.
Where should we go?
We could try and circle round.
I mean,
Did you leave anything back there?
not really. I mean, I don't really carry very much. Everything that I have really is on my back. Like, and she has got a backpack of sorts or whatever. About you, you have that card of yours.
Everything I had was on there, but that's not much to speak of.
Are you sure? I mean, like that's your living.
Never stay attached to anything you can't leave aside if you need to run.
You sound like you're used to running.
I've done my share.
I mean, you don't have to stay. Well, I guess I don't know. I mean,
Well, at least one of them knew exactly who I was. If I go back to town and those fools turn up,
oh, that's true. Oh, damn it. And I earned my bed and board. Crap. Where can we go
looks like
next?
you'll be sleeping rough tonight after all.
I guess so. It's not like it hasn't happened before. Wasn't hoping for it to happen this soon, unfortunately. Um, you don't you don't owe me. I mean, you can try to escape back to your wagon and make your way out of Carthus if you need to. I mean, you don't have to stick with me.
Yeah, I've come this far. I think if you don't know how to use that thing and you're intent on throwing it away, perhaps it's best if we do stick together.
I mean, at this point, as we're making our way around or away or what have you, um, oops. Oops. Did you raise your hand? Oh, I'm sorry. We can take a break. All right. Let's take 5 minutes. Sorry about that.
No problem. Okay.
All right. So we're resuming, and Ajla and Jurek are finding their way around the battle and just trying to steer a wide berth away from this fight, so kind of keep it somewhat in view and within earshot, but yet not be so close that we'll be noticed. Um, and
Well, we're
Ajla
just
had,
trying to get away altogether, right? I don't think we're.
well, I mean, again, okay, so Ajla threw the sword into the forest. She wasn't paying attention where. She was just throwing it. And then I'm assuming we are going into an opposite direction. So we are steering away from Carthus and we are heading where? I mean,
As
you're
far
not.
as Jurek's concerned right now, away. Um, I don't know.
You don't need to go back and get your wagon, your your cart.
Like I said, rule I live by is if I don't carry anything with me that I can't leave behind if needs must. Is there somewhere you need to get? Somewhere you need to head to?
At this point, we find ourselves further away from the battle, from where she threw away the sword. We find ourselves in another clearing. And in this clearing, next to a stone that has a shaft of moonlight shining on it, is the sword sticking up out of the ground with a slight glow. No. No, no. It can't be. We and she looks back behind us. I threw that away back there. That can't be it. And she goes over and she picks it up by the hilt and she looks resigned and looks at the
We haven't.
blade as she says, "Blood of my blood, called bound until vow is fulfilled." Damn it.
We haven't circled around.
I don't
I,
think so.
I suppose that thing doesn't want you to throw it away as much as you want to see it gone.
Do you know what this means? Bound?
Don't look at me. I know iron, but I don't know iron that'll follow me through a forest.
I know someone who might know something about this condition, but I don't want to go there.
How far away are we talking?
Probably about 2 days walk from here, I think, if I recall correctly. And that's only if we take the roads. I'm not necessarily sure where we are
It's
right
probably
now.
best if we don't. 2 days from here, you say?
I think so.
Would that be Rhyme Run?
Yes. Unfortunately, yes.
Yeah, I've passed through it a time or two myself. Well, if that's where you need to get to, I can see you safely there.
I guess there is a bit of safety being with someone else. I'm not used to having a companion. So,
Well, after the trouble I just got myself in, any direction's as good as any other to me at the moment. Any direction except back the way we came, anyway.
I'm sorry you have to be stuck with me. Um that was definitely not my intention.
Oh, I didn't have to stand up and hit that idiot with the branch.
I guess I didn't have to necessarily be so damn close that they noticed me watching either, so I get it. Um, Maybe this is the time for stories, but not mine. Do you want to, at some point, tell me more about Jurek the Hawk?
There's not much to tell. That's a lifetime ago now.
Is
For now, I suggest we press on. But if you want to be safe to Rhyme Run, I'll swear a vow on this piece of iron to get you there. He holds up his right hand, and there's just a dark grey iron ring around the index finger.
she looks at that ring?
It's dark, so she probably can't see it super clearly, but yeah, it
No.
piques her attention, piques her interest.
There's a particular shape of it. I don't think it's completely round. I think it has some kind of edging where it's a bit geometric, I think. And the shape looks dimly familiar. She starts to get a furrowed brow as she's looking at your hand, and we find ourselves deeper in the forest, and the moonlight is now shining more clearly as we come out of the canopy and find ourselves more out in the open. And there's more stars, and there's actually dark patterned clouds in the sky as well. And do you pause when you say that about the vow?
Yeah, and I think out of character here, this is kind of, starting off in Ironsworn, you should start with a larger background vow and a smaller immediate one. So this is my smaller immediate one. So I'm not going to roll the swear and vow move here because of those starting vows you just take them as read.
Right. Yeah.
But we can establish that at this point. But yeah, I think Jurek just almost says something under his breath and holds the ring up and kisses it, and then nods to himself and closes his eyes as if that's done.
Do you need me to swear too?
What you swear is your choice. Well, as I've said, I'll see you safe to Rhyme, and from there we'll see.
That seems to be a very unique ring.
Plain iron. Belonged to a friend of mine once.
It's not plain. As we're getting more into the moonlight, I think she can see a little bit more detail. Do you hide it? Do you hide your hand?
Certainly don't make any move to hold it up for inspection.
What group did you say you fought under again?
I don't think I did say.
Well,
But
if
for
it
what it's
wasn't
worth,
you, it was
what
your...
it's worth, I was with Shekar's Devils for a number of years.
Funny. Huh. My brother was with Shekar's Devils. I don't know if he still is with them now. It's been a while since I've heard from him.
And Jurek doesn't say anything. I think when Ajla introduced herself back in the hall, he figured out fine and well who she was.
She takes his silence as read, but she starts to give him askance glances. Like, hmm. We go along a little further. Do you think it's safe to get some rest?
Yeah, we can't keep going all night.
No, we can't.
I think we should probably get under some cover. I don't want to
And
be seen from if they're chasing you for that blade. I'd rather be out of sight.
yes. And do you have an injury that's visible?
I don't think it's so much an injury, just a few a bruise or two.
Okay.
I think you got hit rather than cut.
Well, I mean, she's got a cut that as we go along, I think she's only starting to realize because she can feel the burning of the slice on the back of one of her hands. It's like whatever hand was closest that punched the guy who was holding the blade, and that's where she got cut. And then she realizes, like, after holding it, that um, it's like there's the wound on the back of her hand. I don't remember getting this. That's strange, and I'm only just starting to feel it. She stops, and she grounds the point of the blade so it stands up, because no sheath or anything, and she tears a part of her shirt off to wrap her hand.
First lesson, if you want to learn how to use that thing, don't stick it in the ground like that. That's a good way to dull the point.
What would you suggest? I mean, that I think the sheath is way back there, where we don't want to go.
Yeah, we'll have to fashion something for now. I'll have to wrap it up as best you can. Carry it over your shoulder. If you're intent on bringing it with you now, it seems like it doesn't want to be left behind.
No, it doesn't. I think if I tried and I left it behind, I'm sure a few more paces ahead and it would appear in front of us. She proceeds to take more of her tunic and tear off some strips to, I don't know, form some sort of makeshift harness of some sort to make it easier to carry so she's not holding it the entire time. And also the hand that got cut, that she's wrapped, it's starting to feel tingly, I guess, just because of like holding the blade and then like not realizing she was holding the blade, and of course the injury on the back of her hand. And she comments, oh, good thing I don't play any instruments because this feels rather painful at the moment. Yeah.
Let's find a place to rest and we'll take a look at it.
Okay. How much farther do you think we should go? That might be safe.
Make for that rise over there. See if we can find a dell or a stand of trees.
Okay.
I don't think fire is a good idea.
Did you bring any light strikers with you? I didn't.
I can make a fire if we need a fire, but like I say, I'll just attract attention to us. So I hope you don't get cold. I don't mind the cold.
Not at the moment, at least. The weather's been cooperative. But I know that once we're near Rymron, it's going to be colder.
Well, it's never exactly warm in these parts, but I think we should be well enough at this time of year.
I mean, I am familiar with Rymron. They know me there. Someone knows me there. Kind of wish they didn't. But, yeah, I think that has to be the first place to go to see if I can find out anything to break this binding, I think. I tell stories. She repeats herself. I tell stories. I'm not in one. Oh,
Jurek just starts to trudge off and look for a place to rest up.
and she follows. And do you want to make camp, or do you want to save that for next time?
Let's make camp.
Okay.
And then we
That's a
can
move,
plot out.
right?
It is, yeah. Let's do that. Then we can establish some background vows and like the journey, I guess.
Sure.
Okay, so I guess am I taking the lead on
Let me see.
making camp? Oh, it doesn't actually matter. We're rolling plus supply,
Right.
which is a shared track.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, if
So
it's
it's
shared, then...
yeah, so it should be at 5 right now.
Okay.
You want me to roll that?
Yes, please.
Okay, so plus 5. That is a 6 plus 5, 11.
Okay.
Shannon's dice can't beat that, but I got a 6 and a 4, so that's a strong hit on the make camp.
Good. So we bolster our resources. Oh, no, that's resupply. Sorry. Strong hit. Choose 2. Okay. Let me see. How down are we?
Well, you're down a spirit. Oh, we each can choose 2.
Oh, okay, great.
So that means, well, I'm for sure going to take the recuperate, take +1 health.
I'm good with health still.
Which will bring me back up to full.
I will take 1 spirit, so back up to 4. And then... I'm going to see. I'm going to take a momentum.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think I will take the prepare move so that I get the prepare result so that I'll get a +1 on undertaking the journey the next day.
Okay.
Which we'll try and remember if we don't roll that at the by the end of this session. So what does that look like with Ajla relaxing and recovering some spirit? Is she telling stories? Is she?
Yeah, I mean, she's going to, well, check her hand with the wound on the back of it. I mean, like, she's not going to unwrap the makeshift bandage that she made, but she's just going to make sure that it's secure. So just in case she does rest, I mean, take a little sleep, that it's not going to dislodge and open up. And then she's going to sit. Actually, no, she's going to lay back as best as she can and look up at the stars and the patterns in the sky. And I don't know how close Jurek would stay near her, but if he's at least within earshot, she's going to start talking, like one hand behind her head, and then the other hand, like, kind of gesturing at the stars. And the sword is in its makeshift harness next to her. And she's going to tell a story about this warrior from so long ago. This is a story that she's been taught by a bard in her village. And she's going to tell the story of this warrior known as Vess, who held ground for the people of the Ironlands as they made their way to escape and evacuate from the Skuld. She was purported to be the best warrior, the most skilled, the most ferocious, and she held the line so the people could board the boats, find any way from the old world, and make their way to find the Ironlands. No one knew what became of her, but they talk about the battle that raged, of her solely holding the line against the vicious clans that were driving our people into the sea. And she did this all with a sword and a shield and the iron that was her will. And as Ajla's telling this, she's making gestures with her fingers as if she's tracing constellations in the sky that she was taught by the bard as almost mnemonic patterns to remember the story. And he said that you can almost trace the battle, the figure, and the epic that ensued just by watching the stars and seeing how they converged and how they started with a single point and then converged again with many stars appearing in the sky. And I don't know if Jurek's listening at all, but like Ajla's just telling this, just as she was taught, and she's slowly falling asleep as she's telling the story. And she closes her eyes, and the words that she ends with as she murmurs herself to sleep are, "And blood calls to blood." And then she's asleep.
I think Jurek stays awake for a little while, an hour or so, just watching to see if there's any sign of pursuit. I don't think there is right now. Strong hit on Lake Camp will give us a narrative excuse of saying that there's no immediate danger. Yeah, and he's just resting up, stretching those muscles that haven't thrown a punch in a little while, I think, and rubbing the bruise forming on his forehead where he headbutted that one person in the face. And he mutters a few comments about being too old for this type of thing. But still, I was sick of sharpening knives anyway. Somehow I always end up back in trouble. So that's your sister, Tavik. Well, for your sake, I'll make sure she gets away from those fools with the blade. But if she's got herself ensorcelled with some kind of, I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm not an expert in these kind of things. Give me a piece of iron and I know what to do with it. But witchcraft, not my area. Still, for your sake, I'll make sure no harm comes to her.
Does Yurik fall asleep?
Eventually, yeah, once he's satisfied that there's no thundering pursuit. I think he's a pretty light sleeper. The sword he took off that enemy warrior is at easy reach. Also, I don't think he had time to take a sheath for it. It's kind of when he is up and about the next day, it'll be stuffed in a belt, but not.
Yeah, they'll be both he and Ajla will be kind of stuck until they can figure out something, or maybe they find something in Rhyme Run that
Mhm.
they'll be able to get and use. Um, I'm just wondering, okay, out of character, I'm just wondering if this is a little too early to let our friend come out and play, or at least give a hint of it yet. But, I mean, the blade is now awake. So,
Could be an interesting little stinger.
yeah, I think so. So, what happens is that the night is peaceful, and what Ajla and Jurek don't see as they both lay back in repose and slumber is the blade glowing very brightly when Ajla's hand falls idly onto it. It was next to her when she fell asleep. And as her hand falls on it, the blade glows brightly through the makeshift harness, and the words burn brightly where nobody sees them. And Ajla sits up, her eyes opening, and her hands slowly rise in front of her face, and then she brings them to her face as if touching her skin, and then looking at her shoulder where her silver braid is resting, and then she mutters, "Why am I in an old body?" And then her eyes close. She lays back down, and she's asleep again. And that is, I guess, the end of our first evening, I guess.
Yeah,
Stars and Wishes.
that's intriguing. Well, maybe there's a little housekeeping we need to
Sure.
do
No,
first.
that's
So in
fine.
the progress tracks, I filled in Yurek's background vow, which is to make peace with Tavik, and I've given that a rank of extreme.
Mm.
And then I've set the new kind of what do you call it, the inciting incident vow,
Yep.
which is to see Ajla safe to Rhineland.
Yep.
And I've given that a rank of dangerous because we've got to get. It's not, you know,
Two
we've got
days
to stay off the
travel.
roads. Then maybe pursue this, but
Yeah, well,
it's
2 days
not super
travel by
difficult.
well-traveled roads. I mean, we're not even sure
Mm,
where we are exactly right now.
exactly.
So,
Yeah. So
can
it's not trivial, but it's not,
yeah,
it's
consi-
straightforward. So do we have background and inciting incident vows for Ajla at this point?
well, I mean, I was making the background vow to be breaking the binding, I would imagine. Like, that would be
That makes
appropriate.
sense.
Yeah, so if you don't mind, like, putting that in there.
Yep.
And then,
And what rank do you want to give that?
I mean, it can be extreme. I mean, or if you're considering a
It's
story, it could be epic. I mean, because
right. Yeah, it's
this is not
supposed to
going to
be
be
either
it's
extreme
not
or
going to be
epic. So
it's not going to be a straight line. That's for definite
right,
sure.
for sure. Yeah, yeah.
So, no straight line. And then the inciting incident one is just getting to Rhyme Run and then getting information about next
Hmm.
steps because she knows a guy. That should be a move. She knows a guy, and yeah, she doesn't
Yeah,
want to.
maybe it's kind of even just find out what the sword is.
Yeah, I mean, again, this person that we're going to meet
Yeah.
is essentially a lore keeper. So, I mean, not magical, but has information or possibly information. She's not sure, but if anybody knows of her acquaintance, like she's pretty sure he does. But there's history there, and she's like, I don't know about this. The community's fine, I think. I think Rhyme Run itself is going to be fine. You know, maybe we can get
Hmm.
some stuff there. Um,
It's more if anyone's looking for us there. Yeah.
yeah, well, I don't know if they would consider that the next place that we would go. They may even be back at Carthus thinking that you tried to go back to your cart, or maybe they're, breaking into your cart for some weird ass reason. Who knows? Um, yeah, I mean, so I think that makes sense.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I mean, do we do this every end of session kind of thing?
No, no, I think this is almost like a kind of a second session zero because this is really setting the scene for our initial vows, right? And now we're going to start next session, start making progress on those things
Okay, gotcha. I
and
mean,
earning experience by completing them.
oh,
The
okay.
shorter ones, obviously. So yeah, I think we're now in the kind of all the background is established. We are together on this journey, and that's going to start next time. Yeah, I think we wouldn't normally do this. In order to make progress on these vows, we there's a move called reach a milestone, which is when you make significant progress on your quest by overcoming a critical obstacle, completing a perilous journey, solving a complex mystery, defeating a powerful threat, gaining vital support, or acquiring a crucial item, you mark progress, and then you basically mark according to the rank
I see.
of that quest.
Got
So,
it.
um,
Well, this definitely can help fill in the random table, though, for our
oh, for
destinations.
sure,
Oh,
yeah.
geez. I mean,
If we've got to just do it, if we've got to do a dangerous just to get to, which is 2 progress per milestone.
hmm
I mean, we could. There's part of me that wonders if we could effectively mark progress on that,
I
mark a first
was,
progress on that now because we've kind of got away
yeah, I mean,
from the initial thing, and
yep, I would say so. I
so I
can't
think we
see
can
why
both do
not.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can't imagine why we wouldn't get something for doing this
Right.
regardless.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. We're kind of safe to a waypoint effectively.
Yeah.
That feels like a progress. So I'm going to mark both of those are dangerous, so they'll get 2 progress boxes completed per milestone.
Yeah. Sounds
Okay.
good. Um,
What were you
I
just? Yeah,
let's see. Hold on.
you were bringing up stars and wishes.
Yeah. I mean, stars because this was a lot of fun. um, I didn't know what to expect, of course, because this
Mm.
is the first time I've actually played it, and like I was saying in session zero, I was like, this looked completely overwhelming as a solo engine thing, and I didn't want to. I mean, I just felt like I don't know how this works. I mean, Okay, admittedly a little lazy, I will admit that too. And it's just easier with other people to be able to
Yeah, for
bounce
sure.
off of, you know, especially if
Yeah,
the other person knows what the hell they're doing. So, no, I mean, this was very enjoyable. And even though we were like back and forth, like, how are we gonna start this? I mean, I think we did pretty good
yeah,
for the beginning, like in the between the
I think so.
narration and the actual scenes themselves. I mean, I think I think the presentation went pretty good. So,
I think it was a good balance between the mechanics of the game and the narrative side of things, which is it's definitely where you shine, and I'm trying to learn to. So yeah, that was definitely like I think we hit that balance right, just right. I think you know I'll get the combat rules down a bit clearer next time, but it was fine.
I think for
It flowed well narratively and
yeah,
like
that's
made
the
an engaging
thing.
story, and
That
that's all that matters, right?
right, that was definitely a star for me because,
Mm,
you know, again, I was afraid of all these moves and like not really understanding like, you know, where they fell into play, but then when it comes right down to it, I mean, all it is just a like more of a breakdown of where it can fall narratively. So it's a
mm.
matter of like, you know, you make a you make a choice. You make a die roll according to that choice. And then that leads to, you know, other move choices that you can make to drive the narrative. But really, when you think about it, I mean, like, you could add these moves anywhere in it, and you could make
Yeah,
the moves as drilled down or as um, general as possible. I mean, maybe, like, you know, say we use like 10 moves between the two of us. Maybe we could have drilled it down to five. I mean, it just depended on how we were like interpreting the results, I think. And that was what was driving the narrative, which you know, I mean like I know, I love. So
hmm
that was great. I mean, I think it worked out well for what we were doing. Especially when we were getting to the point of kind of cinematically going between the two of us and then
yeah,
the inclusion of the Iron Priest. So that worked out
right,
really well, I think.
right.
So
Yeah, it's all just prompts for
mhm.
like story. So yeah,
It really is.
that's perfect.
So that was great. I enjoyed that a lot, and I
Good.
didn't
I'm
think so.
glad. Yeah.
Normally, I hate combat. All right, roll. All right, wait your
Yeah,
turn.
exactly.
Roll, wait your turn.
That's exactly what I
It
like
wasn't
about this.
that.
It is kind of crunchy. It's like way crunchier than the between or
Hmm.
trophy even.
Yes.
But it's coming back to that point I keep making of it. The crunch is in the story generation, right? It's not
Hmm.
about what's your armor class,
Hmm.
what did you roll for
Yeah.
initiative, what did you know?
Right.
Okay, you take your turn, you swing and you miss, nothing happens. You know, there's always it's got that whole PBTA fail forward thing where if you do fail on a roll, it
There's
doesn't mean nothing happened. It means
oh
something bad happened.
yeah,
And
like
yeah,
conflict and
so
consequence. Yeah.
even
So.
though it's like way more complex to some of the super light type games that we've played,
Hmm.
it flows well. I
Yeah.
think, especially once we start getting the hang of it. And I think, like you were saying at the beginning that you weren't sure about like how this dice mechanic worked, and like that wasn't a problem, right? You just got it straight away. It's super straightforward. That you just
Yeah.
roll the six and the two tens, and
Hmm. No, this
yeah,
was yeah, this was pretty. I mean, and again, you can even interpret like according to the
yeah,
moves, you can interpret the phrase, the prompt, and then go, well, that makes sense. But let me
right,
try
exactly, because
this.
they're all written in that way that it's like a prompt for,
Yeah,
okay, what does that mean fictionally? Yeah,
when you, but the yeah, absolutely.
mm-hmm.
So I mean, like you know, again, like very enjoyable, and it gave you some options for being able to interpret the results, which I
Yeah,
enjoyed. So it wasn't a straight, oh well, you did it. I can't stand it when like we do games where it's like, okay, you did a slash because you had a long sword. All
mm-hmm.
right, that's it. Okay, great. And you're never asked, well, so what did it look like? Here we
Mm-hmm.
ask,
Mm-hmm.
what did it look
Mm-hmm.
like?
Yeah, and it's like
So,
I always find a lot of those things in some of those more trad games like so limiting as well. Like um, you know, you mechanically have to use a certain weapon because it
Mm-hmm.
gives you the most pluses. Whereas one of the things I like when I first discovered Dungeon World a few years ago now, it's like the thing that blew me away at first was like, okay, the damage die is class based. It doesn't matter if you're a fighter and you're hitting someone with a broken bottle, you roll the same dice as if you're hitting them with a sword because it's all about like your character knowing
Right.
how to do things. So that just gives you this freedom to do whatever you want narratively.
Right. As
This is
opposed
this is a
to,
bit kind of like that.
yeah, as opposed to drilling down and saying, okay, well, this weapon is a D12, this weapon is a
Exactly. Yeah.
D4, and just like, oh my God, are you
Mm,
freaking kidding me? I mean, and then not even really having the control to be able to say, my character's fucking good at this. What do you mean it's like I bailed on a natural one? Really? I don't think so. I really don't think so. Not, no, 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 no. I mean,
mhm.
I mean, the consequence is you completely fail and you fucked it up. No, no, no. But again, that's it. It is some. I don't want to. I don't want to stomp on anybody's jollies. Like if that's the way they
Yeah.
want to play. I mean, like
Exactly. Yeah.
we're working with a game that has good mechanics that we like working with. So, um, again, enjoy, enjoy, enjoy. So stars for that. And
Cool.
you've always played subtle characters.
Hmm.
I mean, maybe less talking than other people because other people like to either chew up the scenery or just talk a lot. So, I mean, like that's on us. Um, but I mean, subtlety's not bad. Maybe one of the things that you can try to do, or if you want me to prompt you, I'm perfectly happy to do that. Like, what does this look like? What do you look
Mm-hmm.
like? What expression are you making? What are you? But I don't have any problem asking questions. Um,
Please
but
do. Yeah. I like questions.
well, I mean, again, I mean, like you can even ask these questions of yourself before you
Yeah.
do something, right? I mean, like, well, what does it look like? You're not just a talking head, and that's the thing that I know I'm trying to improve upon this myself. I'm trying to include what's happening as well as the actual speech, the actual thing that comes out.
Yeah.
I mean, so got to marry the two to have a good balance of what comes out so people know what's going on, because it's not like we're cosplaying, it's not like we're larping, it's not like people can see the action with the words. So we have to make things clear, especially if we're doing this in a audio only medium. So
Yeah.
um,
That's good. That's a great
yeah.
point.
So that's a wish for both of us, just to be able to get better at what will tell the story better and always improve upon it. And it could be a combination of any and all. It doesn't have to be just one thing. It can be
Right.
all of it. So, I mean, I will have fun, and I hope you will have fun finding out what seems to work. I mean,
No
that's
doubt.
yeah. So, um, so IRL housekeeping. So I can do next week, but it would just be from like for 2 hours at most.
Okay. That's fine with me.
Yeah, so if you wanna
Sure.
do next week, we can totally do that, and then we
Yep.
just no goofing around. We start at 6. If we're
Yeah.
gonna
Right.
goof,
Right.
if we're gonna goof
I
around,
think,
it's like we goof around offline.
and now we know. Now we know the starting point. It's we had so much more work to do to get going today. I
Mm-hmm.
think.
Yeah,
But yeah, now that we know the starting point and it's like everything's kind of established and in play,
yeah. Now, do you want something before we get to Rhyme Run, or do you
I
want
think
to just get to Rhyme
we're
Run?
I think we're inevitably going to do that. We're going to have to do that, given that we've kind of established progress tracks for getting there.
Okay. Oh yeah, that's true.
So
Because you have to.
you've got to complete the vow in order But I mean the vow itself is not just getting there.
Mm-hmm.
Because what we'll probably have is also another progress track just for the mechanics of the journey itself, which might be simpler.
Yeah.
And
Well, Undertake a journey is its own move, correct?
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. And it has its own progress track associated with it. But
Okay.
that will be kind of part of the, um, the vow of getting there is encompassed in that. Uh, so we'll probably be marking progress on both of those things simultaneously, but one of them might be smaller than the other, I think, is how that tends to work, if you see what I mean. I know that doesn't sound like I'm explaining it very well, but
Well, I mean, like, because I just happen to fall on the relationship moves page, and I'm like, forge a bond. I
mm,
mean, like, when do you do that? I mean,
yeah, right. I mean,
I
I
mean,
think you can do that between player characters as well as with NPC
well, I was gonna say
and
because I mean,
places as well.
right. Um, hmm. I mean, and that could be included in the journey part because,
Mm,
if we stand with the
exactly. Yeah.
community over something,
Yeah. Yeah.
one of the things that I have on the destinations is possibly doing something just like that, and that could be you know,
Hmm.
a bond for later. And then even between the two of us, between Ajla and Jurek, I mean, like,
Yeah.
I'm sure that's gonna have to come up at some point.
Hmm.
um,
Yeah. Right. Because now they don't know each other super well, but
no, no, and then like that as it is, I mean, like she's already kind of looking at him like, what? Wait, that ring looks a
hmm
little
hmm
familiar. What are you doing with it? Well, we'll see. I mean, like once we're on the way to Rhyme Run, we'll see how this goes. And I mean,
sure.
I don't know if you want to add more to the table of the destinations and add to it because again, we're not gonna get to Rhyme Run right away. Um,
No, I think we've got enough to be going on with for now. I mean, we can, if any bright ideas hit your mind, then by all means put them in there. But
on the table,
um,
so
yeah,
you can have fun looking at it.
right, right, right.
So, yeah. Alrighty. So I will say next week,
Hmm.
the 30th, at the usual time to start at the usual time and no
Yeah.
goofing around.
Sounds
And
good.
yeah. All right. So you have a good night,
You
and
too.
because you have a game tomorrow, and
Our trophy first thing in the morning. Yeah. Well, 9:30. Yeah.
yeah, and then
9:30 my time.
right, and I don't have anything tomorrow, amazingly enough, but we are finishing up Jack's Trophy Dark Witchwood
Oh,
on
cool.
Saturday. Oh my God.
I'll look forward to watching slash listening to that
If he
at some
lets
point.
me, if he
Oh,
lets
okay. Yeah.
me. So, I mean, like, because it's like, oh, I don't know about my first time. Jack, you did a fantastic job. What the hell are you
He's
talking
good.
about?
I was impressed with how he did with that Mark book one that we
Oh my God.
played a few month or so back. That was
Yeah.
cool.
No, I mean, like, no, he's great. He's great. We had to stumble with the mechanics in the beginning because I wasn't too sure about, like, with the how many dice and all that kind of stuff. And
Hmm.
he wasn't sure either, but there was another person there that had played Trophy on an AP, like Caleb.
Oh
So
yeah.
we both like between the two of us, like we kind of coached Jack a little bit through it. So we all, I think, have it now, and we should be great for rings 3, 4, and 5.
Nice.
Yeah, my character's already got wooden horns like sticking out of its head. So yeah, it's great. It's wonderful.
Perfect.
Can't wait. um, yeah. So I think yeah. Trying to remember. If there's anything else. Anything? Did you Did you have any like specific stars and wishes? I think we just kind of glossed over it.
I
Sorry.
mean, just generally that this is a game I've only played solo before, and even that was a while ago now, and I've kind of always felt it made the most sense as a co-op game. So just having the opportunity to give that a try is cool, and I'm glad you enjoyed it so far, and yeah, looking forward to the next session when the kind of all the baseline setting is kind of behind us, and we just can start exploring the characters and journey a
Ex-
little more.
yeah,
That's where it's at.
that's gonna be an interesting bit right there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, especially when we see. I mean, I don't know if you want to um roll off of the the random destinations thing, you know, or like fill in and then do it, or do you like I guess ask the oracle to determine our next possible prompt. Um,
Yeah,
that could be
I
fun.
think we can. That can be fun. Yeah, yeah. As you know, it doesn't have to be like settlements we encounter on the way. It can be places in the wilderness, or it could be, you know, encounters with pursuit or whatever.
Yeah,
There's all kinds of possibilities, right? So,
right. And that's the thing. I mean, I'm looking at a move right here, like sojourn. When you spend time in a
yeah.
community seeking assistance, I mean, like, you know, conceivably you
Mhm.
could say that about us at the moment because we're on the way to someplace. However, we're not
Yeah, I
exactly
think that's more kind
equipped.
of once. That's more kind of once you get there and
Okay.
are like spending time there to get help in something, or yeah, you know. So that that might be something we do once we get there, I think.
Okay. All right. No, that's fine. More review of rules and moves. It's great. All right. Fantastic. You have a
Cool.
good afternoon, evening. Try to stay cool, and I will see you next time.
See you. That was fun.
It was fun.
See you next week, if not before.
Yep.